What happens when Gotham's silent protector is forced to team up with the one person she swore never to trust, her own mother? Let's get to it. To start off issue 1, we dive headfirst into an intense, yet brief conversation between Cassandra and Lady Shiva. Shiva starts off strong, telling Cassandra she never wanted a daughter. Cassandra fires back with, "You talk like I wanted a mother." Besides the comeback, I really like these little panels that show us things from Cassandra's perspective, how she's reading and analyzing Shiva's body language in real time. I don't think any other comic featuring Cassandra has ever showcased something like that before, so I definitely appreciate it. It fits her character perfectly and adds a unique touch or a bit of spice to the comic. The body language Shiva gave off is her way of telling Cassandra that she loves her, but Cassandra doesn't believe her. As Shiva begins explaining why they're meeting in the first place, Cassandra cuts her off and asks about the person lying on the floor. Shiva, being nonchalant as usual, says it was someone who tried to challenge her and said he couldn't quite stomach it. I see what she did there with the nightstick in the security guard's stomach. Poor guy. Cassandra straight up said no offering to Shiva, and she responds in a way that took Cassandra off guard. Shiva yielded, and I'm with Cassandra on this one. Shiva never yields. Cassandra then asks why she's here in Gotham in the first place. Shiva answers that she wanted to see her daughter because of, and then Cassandra cuts her off again and walks away. She tells her mother to leave the city and that she has a good life in Gotham already, but Shiva puts her foot down and gets in Cassandra's way. From her body language, Cassandra can see that Shiva is desperate and not lying for some reason. Shiva tells her that there's a group of people hunting them and want them dead. Still, Cassandra doesn't believe her mother, due to her knowing body language really well too. But I gotta say, if no one else is gonna say it, if Shiva's desperate, then it must be serious. Ain't no way one of the top deadliest fighters in the DC universe is desperate without a good ass reason to be. She then demands Cassandra to leave Gotham with her and seek refuge from the ones hunting them. Shiva also claims that if Cassandra doesn't come with her, then the Bat family will be in danger, in which I really doubt that. But since it's to raise the stakes of the story, I'll let it pass. But let's be for real here. You telling me that after everything Bruce, Dick, Jason, Tim, Damian, and Barbara went through, these nobodies can go up against them? Get out of here with that. As far as I'm concerned, Stephanie, Duke, Kate, and maybe Catwoman, I could see that. But the main six I just mentioned, hell nah, no way. Cassandra reaches for a batarang, but Shiva stops her from using it, saying she's been stubborn since the day she was born, and to cut it out. What Shiva says right after though makes me feel some type of way, as she tells Cassandra that she knows she will always win it in a fight against her daughter. And I'm like, so I guess we're not gonna count that time when Cassandra won an all-out fight and hangs Shiva on the hook like she's one of those survivors from Dead by Daylight. We're not gonna count that. Alright then. All of a sudden, a group of ninjas crash through the windows, and they got no dialogue besides them saying the same catchphrase for the rest of the issue. What is buried always comes to the light. Cassandra, seeing all this, tries to walk away again and tells her mother good luck, but Shiva's like, get your ass back here. We're in this together now. Cassandra retaliates by punching Shiva. Shiva turns and smiles, glad to see the Cassandra she knows, just in time for a fight. Both of them fight to survive against the ninjas and even pull off a combo attack, with Cassandra throwing batarangs in each one of them. By the time they defeat the ninjas, another horde bursts through the window, leaving them with barely any choice but to escape. Cassandra asks Shiva who the ninjas are, and Shiva explains that they're called the Unburied, a legendary order of warriors who disappeared centuries ago. Now the Unburied have returned, looking for blood, including theirs. And since Cassandra is Shiva's daughter, she's inevitably pulled into all this. In other words, this situation is yet another example of children having to pay for the sins of their parents. Why protect me? Cassandra asks Shiva. Shiva responds, saying that she is her mother. She gave Cassandra life, and she alone has the right to take it away. The two finally land in front of a temple ruled by the order of Shiva. Shiva insists they seek refuge there until her followers can arrange transport out of Gotham. However, she soon realizes she's been speaking to herself, as Cassandra has vanished, just like Batman. And seeing that alone, I know Bruce would be so proud of his daughter. An explosion suddenly erupts, igniting the temple in flames. Cassandra reappears, and both women rush inside, only to find Shiva's followers slaughtered. Only one survivor remains, badly wounded, who manages to warn them of an incoming attack. Before anything more can be said, tons of arrows are shot towards Cassandra, Shiva, and the last of Shiva's loyalists. The two women dive for cover, but the final follower is struck down, his body riddled with arrows in an instant. The Unburied quickly swarm around Shiva, as she declares that it's her they want, demanding they leave Cassandra out of it. But Cassandra refuses to stand by. She leaps into the fray, unwilling to let any more lives be taken. On the final page of the issue, we hear Cassandra's narration, as she admits that she has been many things: a weapon, an orphan, Batgirl, a hero, but tonight, she is a daughter, and Shiva is her mother. Side by side, the two prepare for another battle, closing out issue 1. Moving on to issue 2. Issue 2 starts off where we left off, Cassandra and Shiva battling through waves of the Unburied, fighting just to survive. Once the fight is over, Shiva tells Cassandra that the train to leave Gotham departs at sunrise, but Cassandra isn't convinced. She bolts out of the temple, determined to bring in Batman and the rest of the Bat family for backup. Shiva stops her with a sharp warning. If she does that, the Unburied won't stop until every one of them is dead. Cassandra pushes back, brushing it off, saying the ninjas weren't that hard to fight. But Shiva shuts her down, telling her those were nothing but pawns. The real threat hasn't even revealed himself yet. She begs Cassandra to give her just one night. If Cassandra still refuses when the sun rises, then fine. She can call in the Bat family, but she'd better be ready to bury a few of them if she does. As Shiva warns her about what's coming, Cassandra studies her mother the only way she knows how, through body language. She could see how badly she was wounded, and she knows the fight has already taken a toll. Reluctantly, Cassandra agrees not to involve Batman or the rest of the Bat family. Instead, she tells Shiva to follow her lead. A bit later, something darker is already moving. An unknown figure has wiped out the fire department sent to investigate the ruins of Shiva's temple. He kneels over the fallen firemen, closing their eyes with a disturbing reverence. His words are cold. Your sacrifice will not go unseen, but some things must burn. The scene then cuts back to Cassandra and Shiva. They arrive at a quiet kitchen in another part of Gotham, tucked away from the chaos, where Cassandra meets up with an old woman named Batgirl. And I ain't gonna lie, that name sounds catchy. Batgirl. Now let me stop. Cassandra introduces Batgirl to Shiva, but instead of calling her Shiva, she uses another name such as Sandra to mask her real name, and tells her that Shiva needs some help getting her wounds patched up. Batgirl is happy to help and tells her grandsons to close up their restaurant and to make Cassandra her favorite soup. After they close the restaurant, Batgirl has a talk with Shiva. She finds it strange that Cassandra never mentioned her mother, but still, she tells her that she must be proud of Cassandra for the woman she has become, and if she is the one who raised her, then she did a very good job. There's no panel needed, but I know Shiva felt a bit uncomfortable after hearing that statement, because we all know she ain't a good role model. Both Batman and Barbara are the ones who raised Cassandra into the woman she is today, but Batgirl admits that Cassandra reminds her of her younger self, always fighting even if it was just for a bowl of soup. Batgirl then describes the time right after they first met, when Cassandra asked her to teach her the martial art of, I might mess the pronunciation up, but Bobinam. This surprised Batgirl, since Cassandra showed such interest even though she wasn't Vietnamese, so Batgirl agreed to train Cassandra, and in return, Cassandra trained Batgirl's grandsons in the many forms of her martial arts. Batgirl tells Shiva again that she must be proud, but Shiva is still hung up on the fact that Cassandra never mentioned her at all. Batgirl soon finishes stitching Shiva up. She tells her that Cassandra is a private girl. She knows what Cassandra does as Batgirl for the city, but the wound she notices on Shiva makes her question that both of them are in danger. Shiva responds that they are, and that Cassandra is being difficult with her, but she will listen. Batgirl wonders how that's working out so far, and gives her some life advice about being a mother. It's not easy, especially with daughters whose strong wills match their mothers. She makes her point by mentioning what Bobinam teaches, the principle of hard and soft, force and flow. Cassandra may know Shiva's iron hand, but has she ever felt the heart beneath that tough exterior? Batgirl guesses that Cassandra never mentions Shiva because there's a certain type of pain she can't confront, a mental battle she refuses to fight. Not to downplay any of Batgirl's earlier advice, but this final piece is especially important. As a mother herself, Batgirl tells Shiva that mothers are their daughters' first teachers. If Shiva wants Cassandra to bend, then she must bend first. Listen, speak, force, and flow. Only then can their mother-daughter relationship heal. Moments like this with Shiva are rare. The last time I saw something close to this was back in Batman Urban Legends issue 3, when Batman brought her to check on Cassandra. A bit later, Cassandra and Shiva sit down and cut straight to the real business at hand, what they're truly dealing with. Shiva admits that the few fears she does have are tied to the well-being of others, and she asks if convincing her daughter about this threat will finally make her leave Gotham. Cassandra just gives her one simple answer: talk. That's when Shiva begins to explain the legends of the Unburied, stories so old that even her own mother once passed them down to her. She recalls how, centuries ago, monks discovered a mysterious blue flower that grew from unmarked graves of 100 monks who had died in war. The surviving monks soon realized that these flowers contained something very special, granting those who gathered them extraordinary gifts, healing, strength, sight, and more. But when word of the flowers spread, the outside world sought to claim them. The monks resisted, believing the flowers were born of their kin's life force. That resistance ignited yet another war, and with each battle, more lives were lost, and more blue flowers bloomed. Eventually, the violence reached such a scale that the earth itself swallowed the monks in their sacred flowers whole, burying them deep beneath the soil. But here's a twist about all this. According to Shiva, the monks never truly died. They rise from the earth unburied, vengeance burning in their hearts. Cassandra asks, why now? But before Shiva can answer, they suddenly hear the back door being kicked open. The mysterious figure leading the group of unburied ninjas steps forward. Shiva reveals his name, called in the unseen. This guy must be the real deal, because Cassandra can immediately tell from Shiva's body language that she's afraid. Cassandra can't read Calden's body language though, due to him being so calm and quiet. Suddenly, a knife strikes one of the ninjas as Bao and her grandsons join Shiva and Cassandra in the fight. Both sides clash until Bao and Cassandra fight side by side. Bao tells Cassandra that Shiva is right. It's time for her to leave with her mother to save their own lives. But all of a sudden, Bao is struck down by Calden. Furious, Cassandra loses her focus for just a moment, and Calden takes full advantage. With speed even Cassandra can't keep up with, he easily defeats her. Calden coldly tells Cassandra to give up and avoid any more pain, but then Shiva comes to the rescue, kicking Calden in the side. She quickly lifts Cassandra up and makes her escape. Cassandra tried to resist, now wanted to leave Bao and her grandsons behind, but in a rare moment of vulnerability, Shiva pleads with her daughter, telling her to let her help her, just this once. In response, even though it hurt Cassandra, she listens to her mother and goes with Shiva to the train set to leave Gotham. Cassandra is hurt deep down as she thinks about how she's abandoning her city, her family including Bruce, Barbara, and Steph. She wonders what's going to happen next. And personally, I want to say Cassandra is abandoning Gotham. I'd say she's going to be traveling for a bit before she can return. On the last page of the issue, but Bao and her grandsons are dead, except for one of her grandsons, only to get off by Calden, ending off issue 2. Alright, now moving on to my personal thoughts on the story so far. I like it. The only things I still stand on is Calden not being that much of a threat. I mean, I know he is because of the story, but other than that, he got no chance against the main members of the Bat family. Stuff like this is just another Tuesday for them. Even Shiva showing a bit of fear in a couple parts, I know that's only for the story. And Calden beating Cassandra that easily, that's due to her being put off guard after he knocked out Bao, so she couldn't focus. And I know, it sounds like I'm making a lot of excuses, but we all know how capable Cassandra, Shiva, and the Bat family are. Still, I'm willing to see how this story turns out. But besides all that, if you're entertained, thought it's educational like what I said or all the above, you should like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, turn on post notifications, especially if you're a new viewer. If you want to support the channel even more, my links will be down in the description box below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.